Fred Travalina.
All right.
You didn't have Fred Travalina. Like he was the Elvis guy back then. If you needed an Elvis, Fred Travalina would play him. Yeah. Back then, I used to always get Fred Travalina and Jay Leno mixed up. Like back before Jay Leno was the permanent host of the Tonight Show, he kind of,
There's the I would see Fred Travalina in like the Macy's Day Parade and stuff. He'd be like doing like character work, but he'd be on like a float, and he has, you're right, the giant chin, and like head.
Yeah, because he'd be on like game shows, like he'd be on like Tattletales or something, one of these like panel game shows. So it would be like, okay, now which one's is that? Jay Leno or
we would be on Hollywood Squares. We both are in one square.
Hi, and welcome to Whatever Happened to. We're asking the question, whatever happened to the Mario Brothers? We're not talking about John Leguizamo and
Bob
Hoskins. We're talking about Lou Albano, Captain Lou Albano, and Danny Wells, who played the definitive versions of the Super Mario Brothers.
When I was little, I thought his name was Captain Lou Albino.
Right, because you'd heard that word.
Yeah, and I still can't process words. I still don't have two brain cells to rub together. But I learned the word alibi. I didn't know what it was, but I saw it on the box of Her Alibi store Tom Selleck at the video store.
Oh, I thought maybe you learned it from UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You're ugly. Alibi.
Her alibi.
Her alibi.
Yeah, so I watched a shit ton of the show when I was little.
Yeah, me too. It's like the Phantom Menace. I kind of had it built up in my head of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like H.R. Puffin stuff or something, where it's like Mario and Luigi in this land of talking mushrooms, this psychedelic land of talking mushrooms, and turtles and stuff. Like puppets and things for like the live action segments. And so it's a little disappointing that they're just kind of in a basement. And,
like a dingy, like grungy studio. It's like felt like a fever dream. Like we didn't have YouTube up to a point, so like you couldn't go back. I'm like, what, did I fucking see a Super Mario Brothers show?
Well, it was probably because it's like a mix of animated sequences and then like sort of live action like skits. Like they have like a running sort of like a running sort of comedic story that would be intercut with the cartoons. But yes, super like micro budget because it was like a syndicated kids show. In Philly, it was on like after school. You'd come home from school and it would be on. It seems like they filmed the entire season's worth of live action segments in one day.
It definitely does. Like I was trying to see how many. It was on from 89 to 91. Okay, and there's about 70 episodes or so.
70 episodes, but. Like, I remember there were a couple different incarnations, because there was kind of like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and then there was like a Super Mario 3 show. So is the Super Mario 3 show like a separate from that span, or is that included within that year span? Because it feels like this ran for like a year or two,
it definitely,
and then it got revamped.
Does it, like those other shows like feel like once again like I was huffing gas. I'm like, what was happening back then? Like. I would try to sing the song, but badly. It was like, swing your arms from side to side.
If they want a new Mario Brothers for a live-action Mario Brothers, I think you're looking at them.
Luigi and Mario.
Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go do the Mario. As an Italian-American, like, I know, like, there was that thing of, like, the Italian Defamation Society in the 70s, where it was, like, a bunch of mobsters who started a campaign to stop the movie The Godfather, But, like, I part of me does kind of, like, bristle at Mario with all his, it's a me, Mario. It's like, it feels a little weird.
It shows, like, I was on like Ancestry.com and it's like Ellis Island. It shows Mario,
and then it all breaks.
It's like now, I'm a descendant of Mario.
But like
he's dressed. It's like it's all like the color palette's like a Ken Burns documentary, and he's popping with red and white. He's like...
Now, when like in the games or whatever, where it's like it's a me Mario, like at least it's like okay, it's doing like sort of a stereotypical Italian accent or whatever, but like this Super Mario Brothers Super Show goes like 10 steps worse because it's like everything he said. It's like holy lasagna, you know, holy spaghetti and meatballs. It's like really bad.
Is that a cannoli in your pocket, or you just have me see?
Hey,
right in the meatballs.
You want a foot-long salami? I got a foot-long salami right here for you. That was maybe the funniest thing I ever saw on Saturday Night Live when Ed O'Neill worked at a store and somebody came in and said, "Hey, you got a foot-long salami?" And say, "Have I got a foot-long salami?" Listen to her. Have I got a foot? Yeah, lady, I got a foot-long salami, and it's right here. And then he like hands her like a foot-long salami, and then John Lovitz comes in and he's like, "Oh, I got a sore throat. You got anything I can suck on?" You want to know if I got anything you can suck on? Yeah, I got something you can suck on. I got something you can suck on right here in my pants. And then he pulls it out. He's like, these cough drops. You know?
That's the funniest fucking shit he's like.
And then Jan Hooks comes in and he's like, you know, lady, you come in here every day and you're so grouchy and crabby. You know what you need? I know what you need. I got what you need right here. Right over here. It's exactly what you need. I got it right here. He's like, some bubble bath. You need to just take a bubble bath and relax and unwind a little. You'll feel way better. Much better. And Ed O'Neill is like perfect casting.
Holy lasagna!
Like everything out of like Mario's mouth in this cartoon, you know.
And then there was like, you got guest stars too. The first episode of the series had Baywatch's Nicole Eggert was the guest star.
Yeah, Nicole Eggert, and then Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
And Fred Travalino as a Elvis impersonator, and then
Fred Travalino, holy shit!
Yeah, he gets around.
We need to do a Fred Travalino.
That's our next whatever happened to whatever. Yeah, there was a time when he would be on like the new Gong Show or something. He'd be on Tattletales or something, and I don't like. I would never be sure which one was him and which one was Jay Leno. This was like pre Tonight Show Jay Leno, and they looked like doppelgangers. And either one of them seemed like they could do a credible Elvis.
Definitely. Like, the first time I saw Jay Leno, he was in a Doritos commercial.
Right.
He was
That's
like,
all you want. We'll make more. That made him a star. That's what got him the Tonight Show.
It definitely did. That's what I remember. Like,
yeah, that was his introduction to the mainstream. But yeah, he'd always like pop up on different shows and stuff as like a guest, and of course he'd be on like the Letterman Show and the Johnny Carson Show and stuff.
And he had the cinematic vehicle collision course two-hander with him and Pat Morita.
Well, a lot of like routines he would do on his own show, on the Tonight Show when he was the host, the like headlines and stuff. He would do those as like a guest on the David Letterman show. He'd show up at the David Letterman show with a bunch of like, you know, cardboard, you know, spray mounted things of like, here's a news flash over here.
I love on Conan O'Brien show, they do like the ads.
Yeah.
And I would record Conan's show, but I still remember a lot of my favorite ads. One was, it's like he pulls the ad up and it has a bunch of guns on it, and they're like, "Wow, that's a sale on guns." And then it zooms in, and it says, "1 gun for each juror that put you away." I was like, "Oh my!"
Yeah, that was his spoof of Jay Leno's
headlines.
Headlines. Whatever. I mean, the short answer to whatever happened to Captain Lou Albano and Danny Wells. They're both dead. Okay,
but,
you know, this first whatever happened to is a huge bummer.
Yeah, they're not long for this. I'm
hoping to do one where like they're still whoever we're looking for is still alive, and like maybe we have them on via Zoom or something. But
is
like
Fred Travalina still walk the planet?
Well, I mean, we'll find out that episode. But so like Lou Albano, like what does he do after? Like I mean, that was like. When he was cast as Mario, it was kind of like, you know, he was from like the height of like the 80s WWF. Like,
yeah.
You know, part of Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
Rockin' Wrestling, I love Rockin' Wrestling.
And he was in the Cyndi Lauper Girls Just Want to Have Fun video.
Yes,
you know, he's
song.
Papa Dear, you know, you're still number one. That was him. That was Lou Albano.
We got to cover that.
He gets cast as Mario. I remember reading about it in Nintendo Power magazine.
Holy shit.
That like it's coming up and he's been cast as Mario and for that kind of stuff, they try to give his bona fides, like make it sound like so the kids reading this magazine, myself included, would be like, oh yeah, he plays the game, like talking about like how he plays the Mario.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's part of his research for the character.
I'm with you on that too, Tom. Like I would read like Disney Adventure magazines too, or like Nintendo Power, or like any time there was an actor when like in a role or something when they were like gearing towards kids. I like how you're right, how they would like try to like do bona fides, like they're like I played like 30 hours of this game.
Right, exactly.
Like,
I got the high score on Super Mario Brothers in my research for the role, and like a little bit after this, they they had an issue where they interviewed Bob Hoskins, who kind of had like a double thing because they could interview him about the Roger Rabbit video game, but then also like he's about to play the big screen Mario.
Yeah, my buddy Colin saw that on a double bill with The Shadow, I believe.
Man,
drive-in.
There's another New Beverly Cinema double feature. Bob Hoskins did Mario, for his kids, and then the movie comes out and his kids hate it and whatnot. And Frank Langella plays Skeletor for his kids, and he says at the premiere his kids are asleep, because they were bored stiff by the movie. By the way, I recently watched Masters of the Universe again for like I've probably watched it like 6 times since we started the channel.
If somebody was like tallying like movies I've seen the most, the top 10, the canon Masters of the Universe is in one of my most watched movies of all fucking time.
This was my first time watching it on my with my projector, and it's like and so this is my first time seeing a big screen projected version of it since 1987.
Could you imagine seeing that on like a huge...
I mean, I saw it in the theater. I saw it in the theater when it came out. I remember it was kind of the talk because I wasn't sure about it, like it was kind of like, I don't know. And then one of my friends at school had seen it, opening weekend or whatever. He's like, it's really good.
Awesome.
You got to see it. So then I saw it the following weekend, and yeah, it was pretty great. I of course, I was I enjoyed it, loved it all the way through, but I was also sort of critical because I didn't want them to go to Earth. I wanted it to stay.
Yeah,
I understand now, and I enjoy it, and also didn't really know about Jack Kirby back then. I know about Jack Kirby and the New Gods now, so now I appreciate, as a fan of Jack Kirby's New Gods, I appreciate the way it mirrors Jack Kirby's New Gods, that they sort of come from Eternia and then go to Earth to fight this war with Skeletor. So I like that now, but back then I was like, why don't they just stay on Eternia? It's so cool there. Gwildor's
Gwildor, the
house.
cosmic key. Yeah. We should do a Total Re-commentary.
Where
we just watch the movie from and just just have it playing and vibe on it.
Now, also when I saw Masters of the Universe, I liked the new costume. I liked this sort of more Conan kind of upgrade, this kind of very very kind of state of the art 80s sci-fi fantasy costume that He-Man had with the cape. I approved it because that's one of the things they talk about of why the movie didn't work. He-Man was
I
like that. I like the new look for Skeletor. I liked Gwildor as a replacement for Orko.
Gwildor.
So much on Team Gwildor over
we are
Orko.
Gwildor heads here.
Yeah, I love the Cosmic Key. Prop,
Does anybody have that? Could you please send us the Cosmic Key?
I mean, I loved all those new monsters and and those kind of stormtroopers, those sort of Sardaukar.
Oh yeah, he's
snake troopers or whatever.
Oh, Man at Arms is Skeletor sends his crack troops.
So Captain Lou Albano, what's he do after Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
I'm not
he stuck with it longer too, because I think when it changed into another form, into Super Mario 3 or whatever, it changed into one of those things, and they got rid of Danny Wells as the they cut out the live action segments, or they just reran the same live action ones, but so Danny Wells wasn't the voice of Luigi anymore on the cartoon, but Lou Albano was. And then eventually they got rid of Lou Albano too.
He passed away in 2009.
Okay. They would have the previews for Legend of Zelda, but you'd never actually get to see Legend of Zelda. Like you would never get to see the Legend of Zelda episodes. So I don't know if Tubi has the Legend of Zelda episodes, but like
be amazing.
When I was a kid, graduated from Super Mario fandom to Zelda fandom, so I was much more of a fan of Zelda by the time this show came out. So like, I think it was like 4 days of the week it would be the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and then on Friday it would become the Zelda show, and like I just could not wait. Like that's what I wanted to see, was the Zelda show, not the sort of like Three Stooges kind of antics that they have here.
They got a pizza phone.
Pizza, exactly. Like this is bring back that Italian Anti-Defamation League for this.
Remember those golden books I showed you with from we were talking about from He-Man?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of the golden books with the Zelda from
this
artwork they used, and I would read through I had like 3 of them.
The Italian people have contributed a lot more to the world than just pizza, but pepperoni pizza. But you wouldn't know it from this show. Also, I mean, I had my criticisms. Like, you didn't get to watch as much of the Zelda show because it was only once a week. But I had my criticisms of that too, because they set it up. The dynamic they created in that was like moonlighting, where like they hate each other. And
won't they?
Yeah, right. Well, excuse me, princess.
David Addison.
But like, they had this adversarial relationship. But like, I didn't want that. I wanted it like the game, where Link is this like, kind-hearted, pure of heart little guy, or at least what I imagined him to be based on his little sprite. And then the Princess Zelda, as like, like I didn't want them to be bickering.
Shepherd.
But I guess it's like, you're a kid, you're playing a video game. The storyline is minimal. It's a lot of projection, and like if you have a show or a movie that sort of moonlighting dynamic is more likely what you're going to see. I mean, that's, Han Solo and Princess Leia, it's like they're going to be bickering and, it's screwball comedy, it's kind of a classic setup.
Yeah, watching Legend of Zelda show, it's like this, you could cut the sexual tension of the night.
Did you watch Moonlighting when you were a kid?
Yeah.
I did too, and it, like, when they got together, it was it was exciting and it was fun, but it was a jump the shark.
That was
the show was toast after that.
I mean, Moonlighting would be on. I love that intro, and
then
same
some walk by now. So many great TV theme songs. Like, they don't really have them anymore, but TV theme songs were like so great.
I love the TV theme song, and also they give an intro on the show. Mm-hmm. They don't do that anymore.
Everything's a cold open.
Open.
Like, boom, thrown right in.
And
you do what you got to do, I guess. But
and they even do the they would have great end credits too on the shows. Now they do the end credits speed up, where it's
the look of the Mario Brothers is pretty. Like, their costumes are good.
Definitely. Like, they would win, like, a Halloween costume contest.
Like, do you think that Lou Albano and Danny Wells, when they heard that there was going to be a Super Mario Brothers movie, do you think they were like, well, at least audition us.
Yeah.
At least give us a chance. Like, or maybe they thought they had it in the bag already.
I know.
And then when they get the call that, like, you didn't get the role.
Danny, don't worry. We got right of first refusal. He's like... he's such a big timer. He's like, I don't audition for anybody.
Yeah, like somehow they fucked it up. Somehow they like overplayed. Like, it wasn't that they there's TV people and there's movie people, and especially there's like kids syndicated TV people, and then Bob Hoskins. But if it wasn't that, but it was actually that they fucked it up.
They fucked it up because they're like, listen, it's like, Lou, Danny, we love you guys. It's just the formality. Come in, do the audition. He's like, I don't audition for anybody. Fuck off.
The storylines.
Suck on my meatballs.
Yeah, suck both of my meatballs and my brajol. Like, the stories of the cartoons kind of sucked too, because I wanted like an extension of like what goes on in the show. But it wasn't like, oh, we're exploring the Mushroom Kingdom and Mushroom Kingdom politics and Bowser Palace intrigue or whatever. It's like, okay, every episode is like a spoof. So it's like, we're gonna do a spoof of Star Wars starring the Mario Brother characters. Okay, we're gonna do a spoof of American Graffiti, or or Happy Days or something with like it was never like like we never dive deep into the mythology of the Mushroom Kingdom. We're just kind of like
doing some kind of surface level like horse shit.
The Super Mario 3 cartoon was a lot better in those terms. The Super Mario 3 cartoon felt like a cartoon show exploration of the world we just get like a little glimpse of in Super Mario 3. I mean, the world of Super Mario 3 is very rich, so there is a lot to mine there. Did you ever see Super Mario World, the Super Mario World cartoon?
I can't remember, like,
because that one was like, in order to explain Yoshi, this dinosaur that's in dinosaur eggs, instead of being like, oh yeah, it's another element of the Mushroom Kingdom, they're like, no, we got to explain. So the way they explain it is that Mario and Luigi travel back in time to the caveman days. So they're stuck in the caveman days. Super Mario World. So it's almost like Bonk's Adventure combined with the Mario Brothers.
Because like I would watch Zelda, but like it gets all blended together. Like Captain N, the Game Master.
Yeah.
Was that a standalone show or was it part of like a?
Like, I don't know how they did the rights, but like the Mario Brothers and Zelda show was like a syndicated show, so it was on like like Channel 29 or 57 or 17 in Philly, and then but Captain N, the Game Master, that was the big time. That was like NBC Saturday morning cartoon, so that was like a little higher and
watched a shit ton of that, and
like it had Metroid, it had Castlevania, it had it had Mega Man, it had all those kind of. Mother Brain was like the big villain, but I don't think it had Zelda at that point, and then it stopped being Saturday morning and became syndicated as well.
Okay,
and then at that point, I don't think they were running the Zelda portion of Super Mario anymore. So so then they started having like a new Zelda that was like part of the Captain N. But I think the Zelda, I don't remember if Link was like part of Captain N's team, because Captain N's team was kind of like a that like all the different games were like different universes.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
That Captain N and his team were like at the hub point where all those universes met, so then they could go off into the Castlevania universe or into the Zelda universe. And so I think maybe Link was like part of that crew.
Okay.
Like he was part of that crew, and they could go to the Zelda world. But I think maybe in addition to that, there was also a separate like Legend of Zelda segment, that would sort of play
with the.
So you'd have the Captain N episode with like the whole team and Link, and then you'd have like the Zelda episode.
I loved Captain N so much. Before the show, I knew there was the show. My brothers and I we would use the zapper in our play
to pretend you're, because Captain N walked around with the zapper. I think didn't he have the NES Advantage or like the stick?
I think too? So. Like when I saw the show, I was like, oh, we already do that. Mm-hmm. Like we would carry it around, because it was such a good it's hardy.
Yeah, great toy gun. Yeah, great feel, weight.
And we had the orange zapper.
Okay.
So I would always, when I would see somebody have the gray one, I'd be like, you got the gray zapper? I'm like, we got the orange. I would like orange.
Yeah, that's old fashioned. We didn't find out what Lou Albano did next after this.
Like I want to say like after this he immediately died.
He choked on like the prop meatballs.
Yeah, they had like plastic meatballs.
Lou Albano, like, his trademark as a wrestler, like he had the gum bands, as they call them in Pittsburgh, the rubber bands on his and I feel like when he played Mario, I think that was also like another thing where they're like, we got to clean up his image, because he was kind of like there was something like disreputable about wrestling, at that time, and they kind of had, like, almost like they had to get him to promise that he was going to be like G-rated. He wasn't going to start cursing during the live broadcast of the Super Mario segments.
He comes back, they're like, Danny's complaining to the production. They're like, Lou's back there. He's got a handle of Jim Beam and a bunch of nose clams.
He was on 227 also, and like I was trying to remember, and I was thinking like, was he like Pee Wee Herman on 227? Like, did he just play himself? Did he just play Captain Lou Albano
It feels
as himself?
like-
And he shows up, you know. That Pee Wee Herman episode is a classic, by the way.
my
I
gosh.
recommend you watch it. Pee Wee Herman as himself on 227. But then I think I remember, like, I might be remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was like one of Lester's army buddies. Like, and maybe even like they were like Vietnam era buddy, but that he was like, you know, he'd kind of like fallen on hard times, and he was, you know, like,
that's
I think it was like they get together, and it's like he's like Lester's old war buddy, and it's so great. Oh, it's so great to see you. And then he kind of finds out at a certain point that like that Lou has nowhere to go, you know, and you know,
I'm gonna have to watch that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll have to get. Again, I don't have total recall. Playing modest here. Of course, I remember every line of Captain Lou Albano's appearance on 227.
They do a X-ray. There's nothing upstairs. There's like cobwebs.
Now, Danny Wells, I'm not sure what he did afterwards, but like I remember him being like the like a perpetual guest star on like 70s sitcoms. He would be on
100%.
like, you know, every you know, he'd be on I think he was on Sanford and Son. He was the guy who sold the Whopper Chopper to Fred Sanford.
Oh my god.
And he had like a song. He would like march around, like he was like this traveling salesman with the Whopper Chopper. It was like a Cuisinart kind of thing. And he'd be like, the Whopper Chopper, you know, but he would be in every, I think he was also like a police officer on like What's Happening, and I think he busts, like I'm kind of fusing them together, like that he's the police officer who busts Rerun at the Doobie Brothers concert for trying to bootleg the Doobie Brothers, but I think it might be a different
four
episode.
shows like meld together.
Exactly.
It says he had one of his main roles was he's Charlie the bartender on the Jefferson.
He was Charlie the bartender on the Jefferson, like when like things were getting to be too much for George Jefferson and he needed a break, he'd go downstairs to the bar at, on like the first floor of the building, and he'd tell his troubles to Charlie.
Like I was watching a Love Boat episode with Joe Namath, Broadway Joe.
It was like 85, and I guess I was like 9 years old or whatever, and like I was watching like a new episode of the Jeffersons, and it was maybe like Jefferson's like final season. I was watching a new episode of the Jeffersons on prime time on CBS in like 1985. I remember thinking, like, just kind of like freezing the moment in my mind and being like, I can't believe that like this show is still on and it's a new show and I'm watching it, because it felt like such a 70s, because like during the day I would watch the Jeffersons reruns from the 70s, and then at night once a week I'd be watching like the live action, like not live action, but like this new episode of the Jeffersons. But again, it was like that moment only had like a little bit more, like that was like the last season, and then,
you're like, holy shit, Sherman Hemsley must be rolling in residuals.
I mean I think so. Yeah, and like even like when Sherman Hemsley's like sort of next series after that, which was maybe like a year or two later, maybe like 1987 or something. I remember watching that and being like, man, I can't believe it's like it was just yesterday that like the Jeffersons was still on as a new show, and now it's just like consigned to
like
history,
the dustbin of history
of repeats.
Somebody works their whole life to get like one series. It's Sherman Hemsley, nice move going into another classic series.
Yeah, another classic series. On Sanford and Son, there was no continuity to Sanford and Son. You'd have like it was almost like Three Stooges or something. He had his repertory company. He had his like actors, and then like every episode they'd be playing somebody different. So like the sort of snooty lady at like the one store, in the next episode she'd be playing somebody. She'd be playing like the lady who lives next door or something. Yeah. It was like every episode, and like. So I guarantee Danny Wells was like the Whopper Chopper guy in one episode, and then maybe like the undercover cop or something in another.
I'm looking up a picture of the Whopper Chopper.
Whopper Chopper. Do you remember Carter Country?
I didn't know. I've never heard of that one.
Because I'd watch it in rerun and stuff. But of course, as a kid, you don't know if like you just assume every show you're watching is like a new show or whatever. So I'd watch Carter Country, and like I didn't understand because it was like when I was watching Carter Country, Reagan was the president, and I didn't understand that. Carter Country is a show from the '70s that took place in Jimmy Carter's hometown, and so they called it Carter Country because it was like these characters in Carter Country. But how could I have known that context?
Billy Carter, the character drinking Billy beer.
He was on Lou Grant, Murder, She Wrote. Like it seems like after Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Danny Wells kind of like segued out of like live action guest starring
into voice,
on like animation and stuff.
He passed away in 2013.
2013, okay. So if only we had the Total Recall show back in 2013. If we had it in 2008, we could have gotten in touch with Lou, and then
one of these days we're gonna have a some kind of guest on like a celebrity
Well, it's funny how there's stars of different eras, and so then the people who were like stars when you were a kid, you kind of and stars kind of come and go. There's like the superstars who kind of persist, but stars come and go. But also like the supporting players and like the guests, like they kind of come and go too. And so there is like a time where like Danny Wells was in like every show, and then
he's that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just always knew him, and then when he showed up in as Luigi in Super Mario Brothers Super Show, I was like, oh, there's that guy. And like I didn't know his name, but it was like
Danny Wells.
That's him. That's the Whopper Chopper guy. I don't think anybody. I mean, I think they kind of maybe had a vague sense that, and maybe even their own kids were into this stuff. Were into so they kind of had probably some vague sense of what this means. But like now, like Luigi is such an important character. And Luigi almost has almost eclipsed Mario. Like he's kind of cornered his own little niche. And Luigi is like the thinking man's Mario brother.
There's like Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, he's got his own spin-off that
there's a ton of and like there's a whole faction that would like forget Mario. I'm all in on Luigi.
Yeah, like Luigi jumps higher. He's like the guy to be.
Looking at like some celebrity guest stars later, Lyle Alzado was on there. Yeah. Lou was bringing in his wrestling buddies like Piper and stuff.
Yeah, because I think like after Super Mario Brothers Super Show, I think Lou was in like a movie with Roddy Piper. And stuff.
Oh, nice.
I want to know like who auditioned for this and didn't get it. Oh, I think there's an episode where they meet Inspector Gadget, and he sounds like Don Adams, but I don't know if it's really Don Adams playing him or just a guy doing like a Don Adams imitation.
It's that Maurice LaMarche guy.
Okay,
he's like a famous voice actor.
Because it was a Deke production, right? And like and because it's kind of like wow. Inspector Gadget exists in the Mario verse.
The Dick verse.
the Dick verse. Yeah, when you were a kid and you'd see that, it would be at the end of shows, and you'd be like Dick, and then eventually they started having like when a little kid would say Deke, a voiceover at the end of to establish that no, Mom and Dad, our production company is not Dick.
A Dick production. It's like I'm now entering the Dick verse.
The Dick verse. With the Mario Brothers and Plumbins, our game found the secret warp zone while working on the drain. The Dink was in hand, took the mushroom land. Dancing with the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers. Yeah, that was kind of like the best thing in this was hearing the genuine sound effects. Maurice LaMarche, you said?
Yeah, I think that's...
I wonder if he was the voice of Inspector Gadget. He was Chief Quimby. He was the voice of Chief Quimby, but then they got him to play. They got him to play Inspector Gadget and then I guess he, like, did Don Adams maybe do a voice overdub, or because it sounded like Don Adams.
That's amazing.
For the Super Mario show.
Dude, look at this.
Okay, this is more like it. This is more like what I was looking for from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Would be like the some kind of puppet. Yeah, the storyline of some fake Crocodile Dundee. The storyline of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show would have made sense if this show came out in like 1984 or something, and it was like it was based on the first Mario Bros. Like not Super Mario Brothers, but the one before that where it's just like one static screen.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like jumping around because it's like very plumbing focused. But now that we're in the fantasy land, like Super Mario 2 was already out by the time this came, so like we are fully immersed in the fantasy land of the Mario Brothers, and the show needs to reflect that.
Yeah, the puppet aspect, like I wanted that, but I didn't think about that because I was watching Zoobilee Zoo kind of around like a little bit before then, and I wanted more like HR Puffin stuff style.
Yeah. Where are they now? They're both dead. We
did locate them.
Yeah, we did locate. They're beloved character actors and an athlete in the case of Lou Albano.
Yeah, when I was little, like I just wanted. It was always exciting just seeing like video game stuff go beyond the realm of the game. So like any kind of like extracurricular, like whether it be in a magazine, trading cards, television, it was like
I mean this
special.
Was when this was out. I was mono focused on video games, and the only way you could get like they had a Super Mario Brothers comic book. That's how you could, this is how you could get me to engage with other media was by including video games in it. If there was a sitcom episode that had a video game, like there's a Different Strokes episode where they're playing a video game called Space Sucker, looked like the coolest thing ever, and then there was Square Pegs.
Yeah.
There was an episode where like the one guy was like addicted to these Pac-Man game that they had at the high school. So talk about that famously for the Fred Savage movie The Wizard, because they were like, it's like the only movie where like the product placement is what the audience came for. Like they just want to see the Super Mario Brothers and the different games that the kids are playing. They don't really care about the story.
Oh yeah, like in The Wizard, it's so awesome. Like to think that you couldn't get that visual anywhere else. Yeah, it's like a new game.
Yeah,
like that was
it was your sneak preview of Super Mario 3.
And then there was we gotta do a Wizard episode.
I like how our Whatever Happened to the Mario Brothers episode is like our longest one. We've got like the most to say.
Yeah, it's like almost.
Now, usually these because we sort of stole this idea from 2020, and 2020 would do these like Whatever Happened to was the segment on 2020, and it would usually like sort of. It would kind of climax with them like tracking down the actual person and talking to them and having an interview, and like it's like not. I mean, that's how this is the real deal. And like I think it might have even been the first one that they did on 2020, but Hugh Downs when he I think it might have been the first one. Like they were ripping off Eddie Murphy. They were like, whatever happened to Buckwheat from the Little Rascals? And so they tracked down Buckwheat, and they had this whole interview, and he was no longer in show business. He was living this whole other life. And then you find out like a week later that it was like completely fraudulent. It was just like some guy who went around telling everybody that when he was a kid he played Buckwheat in the Little Rascals, and Hugh Downs like fell for it, and Barbara Walters fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
We fall victim to a fraudulent
Fred Travalina. He's telling all his friends that when he was young he was Fred Travalino.
It's Fred Travalina, scam artist.
That's a good scam to have, because who would know? It's only when you cross paths with the Total Recall boys.
Then it's gonna be great, because like he said he's zooming in. And we're like, zoom in, Fred, but he actually like drives his car like through the zooms through the wall. Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to do the Mario.
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game, found the secret warp zone while working on the drain, gave the twin princess a hand into Mushroom Land.
Like, don't worry, Danny. We got the right of first refusal.
Well, it reminds me of when Adam West was miffed that they didn't approach him first to play Batman in the 1989 Tim Burton Batman. Like, at least give me a chance. At least let me audition. You don't know, maybe I am the best guy for the job.
The real Mario and Luigi don't audition for nobody. You can suck on a meatballs.
Adam West heard about what happened with the Mario Brothers, and so he's talking to his agent. He's like, "Don't let that happen to me."
The Mario Brothers, they fucking like overplayed their hands.
You know, Adam West. Like Adam West. It's like when they did Batman Returns. He's like, "Now's my chance." Yeah. Okay, Michael Keaton, flubbed the dub. Now it's my turn. You know, and then it's like, oh no, and then Batman Forever's coming out. He's like, "Okay, third time's the charm."
He's like, he starts singing "Kiss from a Rose."
Oh, I've been kissed by a rose. There's the Space Ghost Coast to Coast episode where he interviews Adam West. That's pretty good.
Oh my god,
it's on HBO. So now you know the answer to whatever happened to the Mario Brothers. They're dead. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli or on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at Cinema_Tomb.
And please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli to see different comics I've been working on for the past couple of years.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
Okay, and we'll see you in the Mushroom Kingdom.